Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week, we endeavor into our next three-part series by covering the career of the man they now call Cope.
Shout out to the Copium man himself.
It's Adam Copeland. It's Edge. What a long and varied career with a big space in the middle.
Yes, huge
Space.
in the middle.
Truly, I think the wrestler whose comeback I'm most surprised by.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, he's in the same vein as like a Bryan Danielson where like they just love it so much.
Yeah.
Like they were such big fans of it that, it was kind of hard to see them fully away from it for forever. Because I feel like, once Danielson had his retirement, like we kind of all in the back of our minds were like,
but really?
Maybe he probably won't show up in WWE again, but New Japan?
I understand WWE wanting to like play it safe with these people, right? Like they want to make sure that they don't have terrible injuries on their watch. I understand that. But seeing Edge get cleared to come back and be able to do it again and do it at such a high level has been really great.
Some of the best matches of the last, few handful of years have involved him.
And I think being able to wrestle more consistently in AEW is something exciting. So we are going to cover the gamut of Edge's career. We're talking from Troubled Loner to The Brood to Edge and Christian to some single stardom to Rated RKO to, the Rated R Superstar all the way to his retirement to his return. We've got 3 weeks. Pretty much all of November is going to be spent hanging out with Edge. And it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, some would say we're edging, but...
We shouldn't, though. You should, if you're not already, watch these on YouTube and subscribe there for a lot of extra content. If you've been a listener for a long time, that clearly means you like us. If it's your first time listening, welcome. We cover wrestlers through 5 of the most important matches, but for certain wrestlers who are special, they get 15. Edge is special. Edge gets 15. You should come and join us on YouTube, and if you are on YouTube, you'll be able to see that Javier just held up a 51 instead of a 15.
All right, well, this is a 1. It's on my left hand, and this is a 5. I'm seeing it as 15. That's up to you guys to figure out.
We are there. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. We have a lot of extra content. Our extra content in November is very Sting heavy. So if you're a Sting guy, you're going to be very excited to hang out with the icon. But also tell us what you want to see. We have episode 200 coming up on the podcast. Tell us what you want to see for that. Tell us things you want to see on the YouTube. Join us as we're on the road to 100 subs. There's 7 more spots. Get in.
We're on the road to WrestleMania, baby.
That's true. We spent about 45 minutes before hopping on today deciding what hotel or Airbnb we're going to stay at in Philadelphia, and we booked it, so the boys are ready.
Booked and ready to go, baby.
A deciding factor was the presence of a Chick-fil-A. So
I wish we were joking.
We're not even joking. Which day it won't even be open on Sunday, so we got to have it on Saturday or Friday or both.
Or both.
Or Monday. All right, Adam Copeland, born in Orangeville, Ontario, a good Canadian boy. For those of you who have no idea where that is, it's just outside of Toronto.
No.
There you go.
Like how far just outside?
Hour and a bit.
Damn, that is not just outside. Brother, that's like Worcester. I don't know what the fuck.
Hour 15. So it's not part of what's considered like the GTA. But if you take a highway out, you'll end up in Orangeville. Orangeville, lovely place. I've been through many times.
That's out there.
But, of course, you can't bill him from Orangeville, Ontario. So he's from Toronto, you idiots. He would meet future wrestler and lifelong best friend Jay Christian Rizzo in Orangeville when he was 10 years old. And they would make the trip to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto to watch their favorite wrestlers. At the age of 16, Copeland was famously in the 11th row at WrestleMania 6. You can see him on some of the footage cheering on Hulk Hogan against the Ultimate Warrior, the match that he says made him decide to be a wrestler.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's 11th row? Like, that's a pretty penny to spend.
Clearly drawn in by the spectacle because it wasn't the work rate of Hogan and Warrior.
He was a Hulkamaniac, brother.
When he was 17, he won an essay writing contest hosted by his local gym, and the prize was free wrestling training with Ron Hutchinson and Sweet Daddy Siki in Toronto.
How do you decide that's going to be the gift?
I don't know,
the reward.
I'm thrilled. I'm sure they were thrilled when they found the guy who won, and they looked like even like a young Edge. Like, oh, this guy's got He's athletic. That's good.
They're like, oh, he's 6'4". What the fuck?
Also, shout out to Sweet Daddy Siki. There's a fun story. I don't know if I've told on the podcast before. I think I have. We used to make fun of my stepdad because he would say, "Oh, I used to watch wrestling, and my favorite wrestler was Sweet Daddy Siki." And this is before you could just Google everything. And my brother and I'd be like, "You idiot! No, there's no wrestler named Sweet Daddy Siki. What a silly name!" And then we saw him on like an old, like they were doing like those archive shows on that would be hosted by Gene Okerlund. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And there was footage of Sweet Daddy Siki, and our whole house erupted. And my stepdad wasn't there, or he was upstairs at the time. So we're like, "You got to come down. We're seeing Sweet Daddy Siki." So every time I think of Sweet Daddy Siki, I think of him. Just because we were so convinced. It's like, there's no way this person
There's
exists.
no way. This guy does not exist. In your defense, Sweet Daddy Siki does not sound like a human being.
It's an elite name. Through the 90s, Copeland would wrestle in the independent circuit in Ontario and in the Great Lakes region of the U.S. under the ring name Sexton Hardcastle. I truly wanted that to be his AEW name.
Okay. Here's the thing. I know he's probably gone on to explain the origin of it. I just at no point, how do you think that's a good name?
I mean, Sexton Hardcastle is an outstanding name.
Nah, yeah, if you're like the freaking lead guitarist for a rock band.
What is a wrestler if not the lead guitarist of their own life? Let him be.
I don't know about that. I don't know about all that one.
He became part of a tag team called Sex and Violence with Joe E. Legend. Great name. In the mid-90s, he wrestled as Adam Impact for a Winnipeg-based promotion. And in 97, Sex and Violence became part of a larger stable called Thug Life, including Christian Cage, who, of course, is Jay Rizzo, a guy named Zach Wilde, Bill Scullion, and a little guy named Rhino Richards. Weird. Who do you think Rhino Richard turns out to be?
A certain guy from Detroit?
It's Rhino.
Or Michigan?
Yeah, it's Rhino. He's from Michigan. And then Hardcastle and Cage would tag together, known as Hard Impact, great name, before changing their name to the Suicide Blondes, also a great name.
All right, these are some great
names.
This is good stuff.
The early names here are outstanding. They also
Sexton Hardcastle's ass, but everything else is smacked.
Shut up. Sexton Hardcastle as part of the Suicide Blondes is unreal.
Okay. When your stable name is the Suicide Blondes, then you're allowed to be called Sexton
Hardcastle and Christian Cage. What a combo. He went to Japan. They worked there as the Canadian Rockers. And then he also wrestled briefly on WCW TV as Damon Stryker. He was in a match against...
bad.
He's in a match
bad name.
On WCW Pro in February 96 against Meng.
Oh, bad night.
How Adam Copeland got to WWE was in the summer of 95. He worked a show in Ajax, Ontario, which is genuinely just outside of Toronto, where Bret Hart's business manager, Carl DeMarco, was watching, and impressed, he suggested that Copeland send an audition tape to the WWF. Copeland did not hear back from WWF, but sometime later, DeMarco was appointed the president of WWF Canada and told Copeland he put in a good word, and that's how he kind of got his way into the business. Was this one guy saw him one day and was like, "You got it, kid," and brought him in, which I think is fantastic.
That's awesome. That's called networking, everyone.
That's true. There's some information about like his start with the company. On a short notice in 96 in May, he was Bob Holly's opponent and wrestled as Sexton Hardcastle in Hamilton, Ontario. And then in 96, he said he made $210 a week working for the WWF without an official contract. But they also paid his outstanding college debt, which was around $40,000.
Damn, Canada.
The idea of Vince McMahon doing student loan forgiveness just does not sit right in my head.
What do you think Edge majored in?
Radio broadcasting. I looked that up.
He spent $40,000 to major in radio broadcasting.
Yeah, but he's a hell of a promo, so let him be.
Okay. Okay.
Edge,
Joe Buck is one of the best to ever do it. I think Joe Buck would be a shitty promo.
Oh my god, I'd love to see certain announcers try to do promos because the best promo would be Gus Johnson. Correct. Well done. I think Gus would cut it with some energy. Who do you got instead? Al Michaels? Because I'm not.
Iron Eagles.
Iron Eagle would probably be very good. You're right. As like a manager, Iron Eagle is just like even fancier Scott D'Amore.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm not
It's
wrong.
true.
So his gimmick, he became Edge, a loner character who entered the arena through the crowd for his matches and had vignettes of him walking around darkened city streets and assaulting innocent pedestrians.
You think you know me.
Copeland said that he took the name Edge from an Albany radio station called The Edge, and he was like, it's a great name. And he just stole Edge.
And the fact that led to like one of the more iconic careers in the history of the WWE/WWF is like, insane.
It's like the story about Steve Austin being served tea that was stone cold. And then he was like, oh, that's better than Fang McFrost or whatever the fuck else they'd come up with. You've heard the list of stone cold names, right?
Vaguely. Like I know that there's a list and I've heard it before, but I don't know it off the top. I don't recall it off the top of my head. It's not as dope as Rocky Maivia going from that to The Rock. Like that is sick.
Rapid fire. Fang McFrost, Snowman, Otto Von Ruthless, Mr. Freeze, which I'm pretty sure is copyrighted, Ice Dagger, Cruel Luke, Cool Cat, and Chili McFreeze.
Who is making these names?
The same people who make Von Wagner.
Okay, here's why Von Wagner's fine. It's because you look at the guy and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'll accept that.
That's a Von Wagner. All right, so Edge's debut is on Raw, June 22nd, 1998. We finally get to our first match 10 minutes into the podcast. Versus Jose Estrada. Edge with a banger theme from the very beginning. Coming out,
you know me.
Through the crowd.
You know me. You think you know me.
What did you think of the match? It's short.
I mean, the only reason I put this in here, honestly, is because I saw a video of Edge like breaking it down a few weeks ago. I saw it a few weeks ago. He didn't do it a few weeks ago. And I thought it was fucking funny as shit. So I was like, yeah, we're putting this in here. He comes out. I remember the Edge vignettes from my rewatch of the Attitude Era. They were fucking sick.
They were really
very
cool.
well produced.
They were really cool.
And you know, he's going up against Jose Estrada, like you mentioned. He gets jumped as soon as he slides into the ring.
Yeah.
He does a spear, which is the first spear Edge has ever hit in the WWF, and it's a takedown. Like they call it a takedown. He uses it. The move is effectively a takedown because there's no pin attempt, nothing. It's just, but it's 100% an Edge spear. Like you can tell by the way it's just an Edge spear.
It looks the same. And then he hits some right hands. He does a drop kick that sends Estrada to the outside. Does like the Edge scream, which he did a lot when he first debuted, which was just a lot of like find the hard cam and
stare straight up and just
Yes. Then he hits a somersault senton to the outside onto Estrada and legitimately hurts Jose Estrada.
Yeah, he legitimately knocks him out.
He doesn't knock him out. He fucks his neck up.
No, he's out.
Did he say knocked him out?
No, he's out. He's loopy.
Really?
Yeah, he's gone. He's not there.
Everything I read online was just that his neck got hurt, but no, if he got loopy, that would also make sense.
Yeah, I don't doubt that his neck got fucked up too, but he's out. He's not there. You look at the guy's eyes, like he's not there.
Edge wins by countout in his first ever match.
And he's pissed. You could see him talking like, oh,
yeah.
Fuck.
Because he goofed it in his first ever match.
I mean, he did, yeah.
But then he screams in the ring and disappears through the crowd, and that works. Edge then got placed into a feud with vampire wrestler Gangrel, who was recently on Wrapping It Up. Go listen to that. Very cool. They talk about why the Brood is still over, and the answer is because the Brood was cool as hell. Gangrel,
were they though?
They fucking were. Gangrel.
No, they weren't. They weren't, and here's why. It's because, you know what? I hate when vampires are like this. Like they take vampires over the top. I don't like the vampires over the top thing. You know what I also don't like are vamps. The people who like act like they're vampires. It's fucking weird. Don't do that. You know what's a good vampire? You ever see Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yes.
Those are good vampires. Why? They're demons. They're literally, that's what they're like. They're just, a demon possesses a soul of a person. They come out the graveyard. Oh, Buffy's there to kill them, but that's still a good representation of it. You know what's not? Twilight. They fucking glow in the day. They don't even die. They just glow.
Now, I'm going to then take your random thing of hating the Brood and remind you of two things. One, an entrance makes a wrestler. And two, they dump blood on people. And that's awesome. All right. So Gangrel introduced Christian, Edge's storyline brother, as his ally. Eventually, Gangrel and Christian convinced Edge to join them, making the wonderful thing known as the Brood. The Brood was abducted and converted into the Ministry of Darkness back when Undertaker was really starting a David Koresh-style cult, which was cool in 99. In May of 99, I didn't realize they were only there for like a couple of months. The Brood broke away because Christian was attacked by Ken Shamrock and forced to reveal the location of a captive Stephanie McMahon. The Undertaker chose to have Christian punished for this, but Edge and Gangrel stood by him and led to a little mini feud between the Brood and the Ministry, which was actually very good. Edge would capture his first ever singles championship at a house show in Toronto, defeating Jeff Jarrett for the IC title, and then lost it the very next night on Fully Loaded. Essentially, the plan was, and Edge just talked about this, it was going to be a dusty finish where he gets the pin, and then they come out and they reverse it, and then the belt goes back to Jarrett. But they made an audible based on the reaction, just to like keep it for a night.
We got a pay-per-view the next day.
Yeah,
brother.
you'll drop it then. Later in the year, Edge and Christian were then put in a feud with the Hardy Boys, where Gangrel betrayed them and turned the Hardy Boys into the new Brood.
Which was not it.
No, that was not it. They feuded with the Hardy Boys and went on to compete in a ladder match. It's actually part of a best of 5 series. Yes. And it ended at No Mercy in a ladder match. The winner gets $100,000 and the managerial services of Terry Runnels. Now, I love so much that they have to specify the managerial services, because Jerry Lawler repeatedly talks about, I love Terry's services. Brother, drink water.
We get it.
Calm down.
My brother was basically barking into the mic.
Before we decided on Edge as our next 3-parter, I went out of my way like 3 weeks ago to watch this match anyways. Or no, probably about a month ago now. I was just sitting at home and I was like, oh no, it was when I was traveling for work. And I was like, oh, what do I want to throw on? I want to throw something on the background while I get some work done. And I was like, what slaps? I'm like, Edge and Christian versus the Hardys in No Mercy on 9. That slaps. So I watched it and it's great. And then I watched it in full again because it's amazing.
It's a good match. Not my recommendation this week, but a good match.
Well, I feel like I know what your recommendation is going to be, and that's fair. I think we need to recognize just how important this match is to the 4 men involved, but also tag team wrestling in general.
Yes. There is no TLC without this match.
Nope.
There is no highlight of tag team wrestling in the 2000s and 2001 and onwards without this match. Not that they wouldn't have been highlighted, but I don't think they would be as revered. Like, we look back on this like fondly,
as we should.
Which we should, and this match is basically just like I don't think a lot of modern day wrestling in general is what it is without this match.
No,
not to say that we wouldn't have gotten here eventually, because innovation's going to happen regardless of the fact, especially in pro wrestling.
But we know for a fact that these guys did it.
Yeah, we know for a fact that these guys did it.
Yeah. I think this changes ladder matches, because when you look at it, like, even now, some of the spots in this match aren't tame. Like, some of the spots here are still absurd.
Yeah.
Take away 20 years of watching ladder matches, because really, like, this is the first tag team ladder match, at least in WWF.
Yeah. I mean, the 2 matches that really like stick out as like big deal ladder matches, I'm obviously going to go towards the WWF in this time because I don't freaking know anyone else. There's the Sean Razor ladder matches, which we've covered, I think, both of them on this pod already. They're good matches, but like when you compare them to today's wrestling, it's not even just today's wrestling, even just like fucking this match. It's like, oh God,
a lot more methodical. This match is a spot fest, but everything is flowing. Everything makes sense.
And there's even like the Triple H Rock ladder match from SummerSlam '98. Even that is like,
I genuinely think that gets underrated by people.
Yes, but I also feel like whenever anyone talks about it, they like hold it in high regard.
I feel like people who know about it love it, and then people who are like, "Oh, The Rock and Triple H had a ladder match. They've had lots of matches." Like, yeah, but this one was different.
Yeah, like that's their best one, in my opinion.
Their best match?
Yeah, I think it's either that or Backlash 2000, and I would rather the latter match personally.
I have the wrong answer for this, which is the Iron Man match, and that's okay. I know I'm wrong, but I love that Iron Man match so
It's a good.
much.
I think it's the best Iron Man match, which isn't saying much.
It has a spot where The Rock actually has his arm go down 3 times on the sleeper. That's fucking hilarious. I love it. Anyways, we got to talk about this legendary ladder match. So many good spots. Gangrel gets ejected early, which makes no sense.
I just maybe it was to even it out.
I mean, it was, but also it's an ODQ match. Like they don't have to listen. What's going to happen?
Know, man. Christian does a springboard plancha, like a corner jumping plancha to the outside, onto Matt. Edge pulls Jeff Hardy off of the freaking ladder by his hair, and that looked disgusting. That was a disgusting bump that Jeff took.
This is like the first match where you look at the spots that Jeff does, and you go, oh, you didn't have to do that.
Oh my god, yeah. We will talk about TLC. We're spoiling it. It's an Edge fucking episode. We're doing one of the TLCs here.
Obviously. Christian and Jeff fighting over ladder. Christian pins Jeff in the corner with the ladder, then runs up to drop kick him. I like that spot. I thought it was cool.
That spot a whole lot.
Then we get Edge going for a splash off Christian's back, but Matt moves and Christian just hits the ladder. Christian with a reverse DDT off the ladder to Jeff.
A move I love. I love the way Christian does the inverted DDT.
Yeah, anything where Christian is like falling with a person, because like the unprettier is really good.
Is it just look? It's not even just that. It's like, so the Scorpion Death Drop is obviously an inverted DDT.
Yeah.
But doesn't it just make more sense if you fall forward? Because then you have no impact on yourself.
It does.
Instead of taking a back bump.
There's some crazy that like Jeff does a swanton onto Edge on a ladder.
Yeah. And then he follows that up by doing he gets in the corner. They set up a ladder in front of the corner, and he kind of does like an assisted flying leg drop, so he gets even higher.
Yeah, he does a leapfrog leg drop, and then Matt does a moonsault off the ladder with Christian underneath. It's a lot of crazy stuff. Matt tosses a ladder right back to knock Edge off the ladder, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Christian crossbodies a ladder that both Hardys are holding, taking them both down. Then they slide a ladder into Matt's nuts and leaves them broken. Just kidding. He has little goth baby.
And then they drop kicked the open legs of the ladder into the crotch, and they basically made his nuts go delete.
This is a good bit we have going on. They crush Jeff in a ladder repeatedly, which again, 2 would have been fine. They do it 10 times.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot of just beating the shit of Jeff.
The twist of fate to Christian by Jeff, and then he goes up he starts climbing the ladder, and Edge hits a fucking STO off the ladder that looked great. It's one of the best STOs I have ever seen.
Then there's like a run where we get spots off of ladders in a row. Jeff gets hit with a hip toss by Christian off of a ladder. Edge slamming another ladder into Matt that knocks him clean out of the ring. Then we get the Joey Mercury spot. Jeff off the top catapults a ladder into the face of both his brother and Christian, and we were lucky nobody got their nose shattered.
Yeah. All 4 of them are on the ladders, and they all crash and burn.
Yeah, Christian crotches himself.
Yeah, everyone went down except for Jeff, who somehow managed to hold on. He goes up, he unhooks the sack, and the Hardy Boys win the match, and also the sack queen.
Pause. Jeff also, I realize now, whenever you'd win ladder matches in WWE games, and it still kind of looks this way, you'd always win a certain way where you pull the title or the Money in the Bank, and then your guy falls down really dramatically. They just copied Jeff exactly.
Jeff does that every single time,
where he takes a 12-foot back bump for fun.
And he always over-rotates. I swear to God, he always over-rotates, and he ends up landing on his shoulders.
To talk about Edge in this match specifically, he was the most brutal person in this match.
Yes, he was the most brutal at dishing offense.
Yes.
He was nowhere near the most brutal taking them.
No,
that would
Jeff.
be Matt.
No, Jeff.
Matt took some punishment
Yeah.
in this match.
Yeah. But there's something in the way Edge is in this match where you can see that future main event heel level, like being an asshole.
Yeah. You could
There's
just
something
see
very
him
present there.
there's like a heel to him,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just some guys you just know, like Tommaso Ciampa. Now, whenever you see him wrestle, you just know.
You just know. Now,
Um,
we're going to take a break. When we get back, we are looking at TLC 2. Back from the break. At WrestleMania 2000, Edge and Christian defeated the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys to win the WWF Tag Titles in a triangle ladder match, which then led to the creation of the TLC match. Actually, no, we're looking at TLC 1, right?
Oh.
SummerSlam 2000, and then TLC 2 is X7.
You know, I always forget that the WrestleMania 2000 match was a ladder match, not a TLC match.
Yeah. So this is technically TLC 1. In this time, they also, Edge and Christian have become the best of heels. They do the concerto now. They do the 5-second pose for the benefit of those with flash photography. Now, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You and I. Who's Edge? Who's Christian? Because there's two different ways to look at this question. On the count of 3, say who you think you are.
Who I think I am?
Yes, you say who you think you are. I'll say who I think I am.
That's tough. You know. Okay.
Okay,
all
ready?
Right.
1, 2, 3.
Christian.
No,
see, here's the thing. I'm a fucking asshole.
So that's where I was going to go with it. There's 2 routes. One, the more heel person is you, for sure. But I think I have a lot of Christians like they would put a blue dot on me. Like I think I have a lot more of Christian's shitty qualities.
Like Edge is clearly the star.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why I want you to be Edge, because you're the star.
That. Thank you.
But also, I'm just thinking, I didn't even think about it in that terms. Like, Edge is like clearly the main event, like the first ballot Hall of Famer, all this stuff. I didn't even think about it from that. I just thought about it more so like their characters. Christian is always an asshole. As a babyface, he's an asshole.
It's true.
Because Christian in real life is an asshole. Everyone says it. He's a lovable asshole, but he's still an asshole.
Still an asshole.
And, I think Edge, Adam, is a pretty nice guy, depending on who you ask. Matt Hardy might not think so, but depending on who you ask, probably a good dude. And if, you're a good dude, I'm pretty sure if you ask Matt Hardy, he would also agree that you're a stand-up individual. So you're Edge, and I'm an asshole, so I'm Christian.
You know what? I'll take it. That sounds fair to me. This match is obviously incredible. So
this is my recommendation for the week.
If you haven't watched it recently, go watch it. It's great. I think it gets overshadowed by TLC 2, which is also really good. But TLC 1, this slaps. Edge and Christian are here. They got the doofy giant sunglasses. The Dudleys have the classic red camo. The Hardys get an absurd pop because we're in North Carolina.
At any point, did you want those sunglasses?
Yes. I had those sunglasses.
I want those sunglasses like now.
Yeah.
Like I still want them.
Like they're better than shutter shades, which are the dumbest thing that that's not. Kanye has done much worse for for society, but shutter shades I thought was going to be the peak of stupidity.
Those just didn't make any sense.
You can't see through them.
Also, they don't have lenses.
They don't have lenses. There's nothing to them. Anyways, doing all the spots in this match might be a lot, but this match is, again, the beauty of these matches between these teams is it is a lot of spots, but spots that flow organically from one to the next.
Yeah.
And they've talked about it in the way they put the matches together. Like they always were like, okay, so remembering like this person is here. Does it make sense for them to do anything yet? No. It should be these two people. And we'll talk about Devon and Jeff in a spot they don't, specifically Devon did not want to do, but they had gotten to a logical point where it's the only person who could have been there. So
yeah. The Hardys come out, they have chairs, and they are rocking everyone with them.
Yes. Bubba gets hit in the face with a chair and poetry in motion. Christian and Edge with a crossbody off the top rope, drop toe hold combo on a chair onto Devon. I thought that was really good. And then Edge gets rocked with a DDT by Bubba.
Yeah.
That was really good.
The Hardys powerbomb Bubba or off of the ladder, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? Edge hits a side Russian leg sweep to Devon and Jeff off of a ladder. Bubba hits a Bubba bomb to Christian off of a ladder, which looked fucking great because Christian went straight flying up. It's like when you shoot a Nerf gun at the ground and then it just kind of bounces away in a weird way.
We get a what's up on Edge, and then Devon testifies. Bubba asks nicely to get the tables, and then JR says he can feel some wood coming on, and I said, "Sir, stop scrolling through your Twitter likes."
Devon looks under the ring and then is like, "Oh shit, they're not here. They're in the ramp." And so he goes to the entryway to go get tables.
But specifically moves past 2 tables that have already been set up. And it's like, oh, those aren't good enough tables?
Nah, I don't trust the stabilities of those tables, brother.
Christian gets hit with a 3D through table.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Poor Christian.
Yeah.
They start stacking tables on the outside too. On those 2 you were talking about, they just put more tables on there.
Yeah, I'm sure this is to quote Mickey Mouse. It's a surprise tool we use later.
Edge cleans the Dudleys with a chair. Then he eats a twist of fate from Matt. Leg drop from Matt off of the ladder, and then Jeff follows it with another leg drop. The assisted
leapfrog one.
Leapfrog over the ladder one. Matt sandwiches Edge on a ladder, and then Christian goes up to the top rope, so he grabs Christian and he tosses Christian onto Edge.
So the Hardys are running the show right now, and Jeff sets up Bubba on a table on the outside. Jeff climbs up a real tall ladder, and Jeff's like, "We're gonna swanton onto Bubba. Hey, Bubba's feet are currently on the ground. Maybe I shouldn't do this." Jeff doesn't think that way. Jeff still swantons, and Bubba moves with like 5 seconds to spare.
Yeah, Edge, he's not even fully done with the motion of getting off of the ladder before Bubba's 5 feet away.
Bubba's just gone. Bubba's like doing the Samoa Joe walking away thing. Jeff has gone through.
Jeff is dead.
God damn it, Jeff.
Christian does an inverted DDT off of the ladder. Devon and Edge fall onto they crotch themselves on ropes.
Yep.
Bubba goes up the ladder. Christian pushes the ladder over and he falls through the massive stack of tables that are right at the edge of the ramp.
It's Edge and Christian both get up and push him, and he's on the comically large ladder because there's like a 12-foot ladder, and that way Bubba can have the clearance to not hit the ring and make sure that he gets sent to the outside. Bubba does a really good job of clearly knowing where he is to make sure he gets through the tables because he does like a little jump, but you can't really tell until they do the slow motion replay.
Yeah, here's the thing. I would not trust that ladder.
I had a note that was, I didn't ladders. Ladders are tall, man, and they're wobbly as shit.
I've been on big ladders. At one point, I was the only person with enough balls. At my first ever job, I was the only person with enough balls to climb the ladder to fix this one window that was super high up. It was 25 feet up in the air. And it's fine because it's one of those it was one of those super heavy duty ladders that they had bolts and shit. You could clamp them down to the ground even if it was a straight thing. They somehow clamp down. I was climbing up, it was not moving in any way whatsoever. It was sturdy as fuck. These you get onto the first rung of the ladder, that shit's already shaking.
It's true.
Also, they're on an uneven surface because there's padding on that ring. It's yay thick, but there's still padding on it. And so that sinks in. It sinks in at uneven levels with the ladder. And I don't trust that. I don't do it. No, it ain't happening.
I too am yay thick. All right. That's what I got from that. But I agree with you. These ladders are sketchy as shit. So Bubba, he's done. Edge and Christian are climbing. There's nobody else around. And here comes Lita. She pushes both men off and they get crotched. Matt is up. He starts climbing. Devon tips the ladder backwards and Matt falls through another table on the opposite side. So now if you're looking at it from the hard cam side, Bubba is through the tables that are at the entryway on the left. Jeff has gone through tables on the far end in front of you. Matt has gone through a table on the near side in front of you, and the announce tables are unscathed.
Yeah, somehow the Spanish announce table is still standing.
Just doing fucking rosaries, just doing Hail Marys. Please, all these tables.
Edge hits a spear to Lita. Not the last time he spears her, but he hits a spear to her.
And then she's trying to check on Matt, and Edge spears her. And you can also tell that Edge checks on her the second that he does it too. because he keeps his head down there a long time. And he's clearly being like, you good? All right.
It's Lita. She's fine.
Jeff and Devon climb the ladder. This is the spot I was talking about. They're climbing up, and the ladder is knocked out from under them, and they're hanging on from the titles. Devon falls. Edge tosses a ladder at Jeff to fall. Apparently, Devon did not want to do this spot, but they had gone through the kind of like mapping of the match, and the only people it made sense for would be Jeff and Devon to be the last two up there. And I guess the whole time, you can't tell, you can't hear it on the broadcast, is Jeff is fine, and Devon's like, Adam, like they're yelling at the guys like, get me down. And so that's why Devon falls so early. He's just like, fuck it, I'm out.
He's just like, I'm not doing this shit.
I'm out of this shit. Edge and Christian climb the ladder. They get the belts. What a fucking bout.
This is great. Great match. I love TLCs.
Let's look at Edge and Christian and their promo ability, because goddamn it, they were a hoot. September 7th, 2000, we are at SmackDown. I'm talking old SmackDown. I'm talking oval set SmackDown. Edge and Christian are here in the shades, and they're talking about how they picked up a win over The Rock and Undertaker on Monday.
Or as they call them, the Rocker Taker.
It's not as good as Sex and Hardcastle. Edge says they're going to give a history lesson to the people of Louisville, because they're in Kentucky.
Which is in Kentucky. Christian interrupts, says he believes it was in Lexington, Kentucky, where they beat The Rock and Undertaker, and Christian got the pin over The Rock. Let's show the clip.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of clips of Christian pinning The Rock.
Edge says they're not here to gloat. They're here to educate.
Yes.
Edge says that a great innovation made its way to Louisville in 1996 when soap was used for the first time. Christian says, speaking of soap, remember when we got a clean win over Rock and The Undertaker? And they show the clip again, but in slow motion.
This is the point where I realized, I'm like, holy shit, it's September 2000. Like, the invasion angle hasn't happened yet. And Taz is on commentary.
Yeah, and he is, like, going on so annoyingly with Edge and Christian.
I didn't realize how early he was on commentary. Because in my mind, it's like a post, like, brand split in my brain. It's like, oh, that's when it became Taz and Michael Cole, and obviously Jerry. And
I thought it was 2001. If you were to ask me, I thought it was 2001. At some point in 2001.
So we get a new angle for the pin, calls for it one more time, and The Rock appears.
Yes. Rock
$500 shirt Rock.
Rock says those two jabronis come out running their mouths and showing footage. He says Christian did beat The Rock, but he didn't do it by himself. So he wants both of them tonight.
Edge and Christian say there's no way we're going to ruin our, quote, undefeated against The Rock in Kentucky streak. Which is like, I love it. It sounds like modern stats. It's like what it's. I'm trying to remember the exact stat, but there's a stat that where it was like 4 NBA Hall of Famers and then like 1 scrub, and it was like guys who averaged like 14.2 points per game and shot 2.3 threes per game, and it was like LeBron, Bird, Kobe, and then
like fucking Wesley Johnson,
Garrett Temple or something.
Yeah. But wait, Christian, do you smell something? He asks The Rock. Rock, do you smell that? He says it's them, totally reeking of awesomeness.
And The Rock is like, you reek?
And The Rock is like, ask for you reek. He asks if it's their new catchphrase. And then when they go to answer, he goes, it doesn't matter if it's your new catchphrase. He says, you two so totally, absolutely, unconditionally, positively reek of grade A Kentucky Derby horse shit.
I found that terrible statistic I'd like to share with you. Ready?
Go ahead.
Players with 800 games to average 13.5 points, 5.9 rebounds, 1.4 steals, 49% from the field, and 30% from 3. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Thaddeus Young.
First ballot Hall of Famer, Thaddeus Young. Thank you very
Young.
Much. They agreed to the handicap match with Rock, but only if it's a tornado handicap match. So they're both in the ring at the same time. Rock agrees. Edge says, wait. They also demand that The Rock, yes, it's a tornado handicap match, but also that the WWF title be put on the line. The Rock agrees.
But The Rock has his invisible magical crystal ball. He sees Edge. He sees Christian. They're still WWF Tag Team Champions, clear as crystal. And he shines it up a little bit. It's a picture of The Rock whooping both your monkey asses all over Louisville. Outstanding.
This was one of the most entertaining promos we've ever had.
Did you assume he was going to tell them that he's going to take the crystal ball and turn it sideways and shove it up? It's weird when Rock pivots because Rock promos truly are, for the most part, like paint by numbers with random insults included. Yeah. And when he's setting up for a line and then doesn't do it, I'm always like, huh? Did you forget?
But I'm always like, oh.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Edge and Christian would not become WWF champion.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Whoa. You'll have to wait to the next part for that one.
Honestly, any Edge and Christian promo from the year probably mid 2000 to 2001 is money.
Honestly, the whole reason I picked that one was because it had The Rock on it, and I feel like The Rock kind of elevates whoever
he does. Absolutely.
If he gets in a promo battle with someone, like, you have to be on your A game if you're going to be in a promo battle with The Rock. So I was like, oh, this could be interesting.
And the boys were on their game. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, Edge is in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. Back from the break, Edge versus Kurt Angle, King of the Ring final 2001. This is Edge still teaming with Christian at this point, but there's some friction amongst the brothers. They're having some problems, and Christian is a dick. Edge has beaten Test, Perry Saturn, and Rhino Richards to get to the finals of the tournament. Kurt beat Hardcore Holly, Jeff Hardy, and Christian in the semis. This is Kurt's second of 3 matches in the night. Later on, he will defenestrate the boss's son. You know what defenestrate means? I learned this word recently. Do you know what it means? Yeah, so he throws somebody through a window. And I mean...
I do know that.
I mean, it's not exactly a window, but it's window-shaped.
You know what? Jesus Christ, this just came to my mind. You know how I found that out? Like, many years ago. My dad and I were watching Charlie Chaplin movies.
Okay.
And at one point, I think in one of the movies, like, you know how randomly words pop up?
Yeah. Like the little cards, right? That are like,
the cards. Like, it'll cut from the actual like clip of him doing stuff to like a card that has whatever. I think the word defenestrate was on there. And so I Googled it and I found out that's what it was, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
There is a series called Puppet History by the YouTubers The Watcher, and Watcher Entertainment is the guys from BuzzFeed Unsolved, and then they did their own thing after, and they have a show called Puppet History, and one of the Puppet History episodes was about a mass run of defenestrations in an ancient society where people just kept getting yeet through windows. And that's where I learned the term. So go check out Puppet History. It's a really good time.
Anyways, Kirk gets on the mic as soon as this starts. He says there's no way that Edge is going to beat him. So he figured he'd save him the embarrassment, give him a chance to just lose.
I have a question for you. Was yours also in German?
Yeah.
How did you hear Kurt? I couldn't hear him.
Well, the audio, it was like the German was very loud.
It was very loud.
But I could still hear Kurt.
But the fact that you're talking about Kurt's promo, I was alarmed that I just had mine set to German by accident. Which would not be
back?
Well, no, but this, I thought somehow I touched something and it turned into German. There was one time I didn't realize I had accidentally changed the language of a movie I was watching, and I had sat on the remote or something, and I was super late. And I was like, none of this is making sense. And it took 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, this is in German. Okay,
wait, you're like, wait, Mean Girls isn't in German. What's going on? Rachel McAdams speaks English.
I think it was definitely a Pixar movie. It was Brave or something, and I was like, what is going on here?
I already can't understand what she's saying.
If you could change your life, would ya? Edge does not take Kurt.
I don't fucking know. What do I?
Kurt's
I can
hey,
do a Scottish accent if I do the Drew McIntyre.
They took Drew seriously on Raw this past week, and I think that's really interesting. I think that's good.
Good for Drew.
Kurt also says there's no way Edge is going to beat him tonight. Asks Edge to force fix in another match later. Edge just clocks him. Just clocks him.
Yeah.
Kurt turns it around.
Hole into his ass too.
Kurt turns it around though and stomps Edge a lot. Then this is when you realize Angle is on one. Just belly to bellies overhead, Edge to the outside, over the ropes. Out of the ring. This is when I was like, Kurt Angle is just. He's that so Kobe good. Bryant. He's that Kobe Bryant thing. Are you a different beast or the same beast and a different animal? Yes, Kurt Angle is.
What the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant? He whips him into the steps, hits a back suplex for a near fall. Edge does a roll up for a near fall. Kurt then does another belly to belly, just normal. This time not anywhere precarious. For a near fall. Kurt uses Edge's momentum, tosses him out of the ring.
Edge selling here. Obviously,
he sells a lot of this match.
Selling is different in ladder matches, obviously. Yeah. This is the first real good view of Edge selling, I think.
Yes.
And he's very good. It's a simple thing we talk about all the time. The ability to remember what has happened in the match. Edge is pretty good at remembering what's happened in the match. There is a time when he's at the top, like he's in like the World Heavyweight Champion reign, where he kind of loses that for a little. When he's like the rated R superstar World Heavyweight Champion running SmackDown, like that era Edge would just kind of forget and become superpowered again.
I just think, yeah, I'm so good.
But everything up until then, Edge is super great at being like, Kurt worked my like neck for a while, so I'm just gonna like do like a little like neck thing every once in a while, just to be like, I'm clearly working things out. You can, God, it sounds so weird that like certain wrestlers like don't take the craft seriously or whatever. And what the fuck do I know? But there are certain wrestlers you can tell like love it so much that they're like, every single time I'm gonna try my best to remember and give it my all. And Edge is one of those guys, especially like young, hungry Edge.
Yeah, it's great. It's great stuff. And another thing about Edge, and I guess mostly in his return run is when I noticed it mostly. It's his eyes. He has such great selling. Like if he takes a big move, he'll just he knows how to like bug his eyes out a little bit that make you like feel like he's like, I'm in pain.
He's very expressionable. Yeah.
Like I've always said this about like Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is one of the best, if not in my opinion, the best facial seller of all time. He is so fucking good at it, which is like criminal that I thought he was also like one of the best sellers in the world when he had a mask on.
Yeah. It's super weird. Sami Zayn also
great at it.
Sami Zayn also a great promo this week on Raw.
Yes. Just like glassy eyed, like, or bug eyed, like Edge is just, he's a really good, like, Edge is a great seller if you just look at this right here.
Yeah.
Just this part right here, incredible. All the other stuff is obviously also great, but this right here, this is where the money is with him.
Edge managed to push Angle off and gets a top rope Frankensteiner. Trading shots after a Kurt kick out. Edge with 2 clotheslines and a backdrop. Holds himself in the turnbuckle to avoid an Angle drop kick and then gets a slingshot and a roll up for a 2. Then we get a couple of finisher counters. Angle slam gets countered. The execution gets countered. Angle goes for an ankle lock that's reversed into a pin. Edge gets the Edge-O-Matic, which is like the back. Essentially, it's the X Factor.
That's called. Okay.
Essentially, it's the X Factor, but they land on their back instead of their face.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Christian is here and distracts the ref during the pin because he's a dick.
And Edge is like, what the fuck?
Angle goes for a roll-up. Edge kicks out. Angle ducks, and Edge accidentally clotheslines our ref. Ref is down. Angle gets the ankle lock in, and Edge taps, but the ref misses it. So both men technically getting visual wins here, which is always interesting when they do both. Angle checks on the ref, and who comes out but the defenestrated son, Shane O'Mac. He is here, and I use this term loosely, spears Kurt.
That was not a spear.
Hugs Kurt aggressively?
That was like a glorified... That was a crossbody with a hug.
That's what. Whenever we do charity outreach, it's going to be called Crossbody with a Hug.
Crossbody of love, baby.
Crossbody. I love you. That's going to be when we do a charity drive. If we ever figure out how to affect it, like do like charity things on Twitch, we'll be set.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Crossbody outreach or crossbody. What is a synonym of charity that's not with a CH?
I have no idea.
with a C.
Somebody get in the comments and tell us what we should do. Also, speaking of comments, while we're here, shout out again, Crispy Chris 3548, another lovely comment on our Boogeyman episode, and saying that doesn't think supernatural characters are scary, can watch supernatural scary movie, and true story scary movie would be more afraid of a more realistic movie, but thought Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness was scary, and Kane Masked and Unmasked was scary until his storyline with Lita. And you're right, that's exactly when Kane becomes unscary, is the storyline with Lita.
There's a baby involved.
And there's Gene Snitsky, who's a real monster because he punched the baby.
Execution for the win. Edge is king of the ring.
Very cool. You can tell that they saw something in Edge to be like, hey, here's the king of the ring. You're going to be a single star going forward. Because Edge becomes face, he sides with the WWF during the Invasion storyline because Christian fucking betrays him to the to the Invasion. And they would feud over the Intercontinental Championship, which Edge had won at SummerSlam on August 19th. He lost it to Christian at Unforgiven, and then we have the rubber match. It's a ladder match again, this time Edge versus Christian, No Mercy 2001. I forgot this match existed.
I didn't know this match existed.
I knew they feuded during the Invasion, because again, Invasion was like peak of my watching. I was there every week. I knew this was happening. And I was going to say this at the end, but I want to talk about it now. What did we think of initial singles push Edge?
I thought it was interesting how they did it. It's very much you're still in the mid card, brother, type deal.
But like you're like the most important person in the mid card.
It's very like I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like when the Shield, I don't even want to say when the Shield broke up because that's like a whole different thing. It's almost like who's like a guy within the last few years who was kind of like this. It's almost like, you know, how they just randomly made Ricochet again, and like he won the IC title, and then he just kind of like went out there, and he was like kind of like the mid card king, even though like no one actually gave a shit.
There's an argument that like this is also where WWE wanted to keep Rusev, but then he kept pushing to be a little bit bigger than that, and WWE was like, we don't want you there.
And I say the Ricochet thing because I think it's kind of an apt comparison. Because like, look, I wasn't around at this time period. Obviously, I wasn't watching. But like, I feel like even you can tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like even though they were pushing Edge to be at this level, I don't think anyone really saw Edge at that level.
So what I had written down. This is my 9-year-old opinion, right?
Like top guy in the mid card.
I was in on Edge. I was all in. Like I was like, I see it. He's Canadian. He's super cool.
You're
stuff.
probably not the good person to ask for this.
But it's also mainly that I hated Christian. I thought Christian was so annoying. I have since come around to appreciate Christian.
Go fuck yourself.
I hated Christian so much. But I think you're right. I think WWE saw the things with Edge, even if we didn't, and then honestly treats him perfectly. Like they do a really good job. And then it also is benefit that obviously we don't get to this part in our episode this week, but when Paul Heyman says, I want Edge as part of my like core group for SmackDown and the brand split, that helps tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it more so, but like you think about it, he's like just like the mid-card babyface, like perennial babyface guy for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then he turns heel because they have to, because everyone knows. We'll get to that next episode.
We will. So this match, you see the clip of Christian turning on Edge, where he lures him essentially into an ambush from the Invasion, and turns on him there.
Is that when he turns on him? Isn't it? Edge has a match against is it Storm? Lance Storm? Does he have a match against Lance Storm? And then that's like he beats him.
So
he beats Lance Storm, and then Christian turns on him after. Isn't
there's like 2 turns plus the King of the Ring thing? Like Edge essentially like couldn't quit Christian, and Christian was just kicking the shit out of him.
Every time I see the Edge or Christian turns on Edge, it's always the Lance Storm match. It's after a Lance Storm match.
We are barreling towards another Edge versus Christian match in AEW, and I am excited for it. I think it will be good. I think it will be great.
I mean, it's kind of a spoiler for this match. I think they have like a weird chemistry with each other where I don't think it really works.
I have a game for you. I'm so glad you brought that up. I was going to save it till the end of the match. I would like you to rank these teams from the Attitude Era based on their chemistry when wrestling each other.
The Hardy Boys are last.
So there's Edge and Christian. the Hardy Boys, the
They're
New Age
last.
Outlaws, and the Dudleys.
I don't even remember the New Age Outlaws fighting each other, so I am gonna put them like second.
So does it in order go Dudleys, or is it Edge and Christian first?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put the New Age Outlaws third because I can't put them over this because I don't know what that looks like. The Dudleys are first to me. I always like it, especially the Spike Dudley thing. Like I always love when
No,
Spike
I'm
is up against
talking
Bubba.
just
I
Bubba
know.
and Devon.
I would put Bubba and Devon first because I think they actually did have pretty good chemistry with each other, and I'll put this second.
Tell me the standout Bubba versus Devon match. Is it in TNA? It's in TNA. That's why. So when I did this list for myself as well, I put the New Age Outlaws first, just because I think, like, compared to a lot of other Attitude Era wrestling, it wasn't that bad. Then Edge and Christian, then the Dudleys, then you're right. The Hardy Boys are last.
The Hardy Boys are so bad.
They have no chemistry. It's so weird.
The WrestleMania is 25. That match sucks.
It's so
that
weird.
Match is genuinely bad. Yeah, no, they don't work with each other. Look, it's not that I don't like this match. I think this is a good match. It's just I feel like something so personal, like you just have to like hit every single beat for something that's like this built up over years of being a tag team. You are storyline brothers, all this other shit. Like you have to build it. You have to like pop off in the crazy way. And I think this is just like a fine ladder match.
I disagree. I think this match does a better job of conveying the urgency of this level of feud better than a lot of other WWE products. And let me explain why. A couple of things. Off the hop, Christian charging out to meet Edge in the entryway. Weird little aside. The fact that WWE actually rings the bell when they're out there. At first I was like, that's weird. They should be in the ring. But then no, it's a ladder match. They can start whenever. I was like, oh, that's actually correct. It's weird when you get to say like, hey, you did a correct thing. Good job. Congratulations. I also think that while some of the middle parts may be a little, there's some spots that aren't like the blood feud you expect.
My thing here is like you can very much tell.
The ending, I think, is outstanding.
Yes, I think it's a cathartic ending.
Yes.
But my thing with this match is this is like very noticeable. Okay, it's time for this spot. All right, this spot. Now we got to do this spot.
I think
this
also
is the only match of the bunch where I was like, all right, they clearly have this thing entirely scripted out, and they just know like they have to go B for B with it. There's not really like it's that works when it's like a TLC.
That's what I was gonna say.
TLC,
I think
a ladder match or whatever. Like that's fine. This has a story behind it, though.
I think their background actually hurts them here. I think they're the fact they're used to those multi-man TLC, 4 people at least, maybe 6, maybe 8. Those style of matches actually hurts them in piecing together a ladder match. I think their singles matches that are just singles matches, they're better at conveying things because they're used to that. But in their ladder matches, they're used to the spot to spot to spot. And it's harder to be more natural in the progressions when you're just 2 people.
That's fair.
So I think there are certain things working against them. But I do think that essentially the beginning, there's some good spots by Christian in the middle that convey being a dick.
Yes.
And then the ending, they hit it. Like what stands out to you in this match during the middle parts?
Edge does leg kicks early on. The only thing I thought of with that was we need more leg kicks in wrestling. Leg kicks are like if you watch any fucking mixed martial arts, like any MMA fight, whether it be UFC, Bellator, or whatever the fuck, PFL, wherever you want to go, you'll see leg kicks in pretty much any fight, and there's a reason for it. Is because leg kicks fucking suck for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. You take 20 leg kicks straight to the knee, your knee's going to be a fucking balloon. And it's going to hurt. You're going to struggle to move. You're not going to have as much power in your punches, all this other stuff. Leg kicks make sense. It like you're telling me someone's facing Aleister Black, right? And they're not going to kick his fucking leg? No, we're not doing that?
They're going to kick the leg. They're going to kick the leg.
Facing Dolph Ziggler, Shawn Michaels, super kick. Kick his fucking leg. Let him hit a super kick. See what happens there.
They do run out into the crowd during part of the match. They're brawling out into the hockey boards, which I thought was exceptionally Canadian of them.
That's what those are?
Yeah, those are hockey boards. I had to Google where they were to make sure they were hockey boards, and we are in St. Louis, so those are St. Louis Blues boards, if you're curious. There are
those
some
the ones that beat the Bruins the other year in the 7-game series?
Yes.
I watched Game 7, all of it, and I was like, damn, I jinxed the Bruins.
Yeah, you're bad luck. Good. Fuck the Bruins. As a Leaf fan, they make me feel pain.
I'm a Kraken fan.
I know you're a Kraken fan. Christian slingshots ladder at Edge, and he's putting the ring and hits Edge right in the face. So again, another Joey Mercury spot. There's like a lot of like one person's climbing, the other person doesn't move to them. Like that is, I think, the part that feels really slow.
It just feels so clunky. I don't even know how to describe it. Like Edge or Christian gets crotched, drops Edge onto a ladder bridge, gets crotched on it after that. Edge gets trapped in the corner by a ladder. Christian grabs a chair. He goes up to the corner because I guess he's going to try to fucking swing it at his head for some fucking reason. Instead of like, doing literally any other move. So he gets hit with a snapmare onto the ladder. Edge does like a forward electric chair drop onto a ladder. Christian does a reverse whip of Edge onto a ladder.
It's a lot of like one person doesn't move onto a ladder to the other person then gets their move back. There's a spot where Christian goes for like a solo concerto and Edge breaks it up by just whipping a chair at Christian's face, which again, if they were legitimately brothers, which again, you should know by now, they're not really brothers.
Adam Copeland, what is it?
Riso.
Yeah. They're not the same last name.
And that's a good it's not always a tell, but it's a good tell.
Not always a tell, but it's a good tell.
Edge makes a ladder bridge between two chairs and hits a splash on Christian across, which I thought was fun. That was a fun little spot. Edge gets knocked off the top of the ladder with a ladder shot to the ribs. Christian climbs the ladder. Edge with a spear off the top rope to Christian. A spot that I thought should have been better.
Yeah, but it ends up looking kind of weird.
Yeah. It's partly the camera angle. I think they got the wrong angle for it because it's kind of obscured by like the ladders. You don't really see. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't look that good. It's also like there's not that much of a drop. I don't know, but it's safer. I know it's safer, but I don't care.
We have Darby Allin now. We don't care, Mom and Dad. Show us danger.
Christian stalls like a motherfucker climbing a ladder. Like he even drops a rung. Like he puts Dolph Ziggler to shame with the way he's climbing this ladder. And then Edge comes and crotches him, hits him in the crotch with a chair, which is a callback to a previous match that they had when Christian won the IC title. He fucking took the chair, he turned it sideways, and he shoved it up Edge's ass.
Yeah.
Edge basically does that same exact thing to him. He then lays Christian across two ladders.
Yep, he planks him.
Puts a chair right on underneath his chest head area, right there. Grabs another chair, climbs the ladder. Concerto.
For not remembering this match existed, I also took me a really long time to figure out what he was doing because the ladder, I will say, for having a lot of spots, the ladders kind of position themselves rather organically. Like it doesn't feel like he's like, oh, I got to make sure this one's up and then this one's up and then this one goes behind. Like they happen to put one up and then they happen to put the next one up and then he just grabbed like I like when things kind of, you see the full picture unfold and it's not like you can tell exactly what they're doing. Once I realized it was a concerto, I was like, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, squish his little head like a bug. That sounds great. Do that. That sounds great. Edge hits a concerto. He wins the IC title. Christian becomes best friends with Chris Jericho soon.
And then turns on him.
And then turns on him too, because that's what we do. Christian is not a good friend. That's what we've learned in this. Looking at the early career of Edge, what did you think?
It's good stuff. It's good stuff all around. You definitely see the potential for what came next. And you know, he's, I don't know how to describe it. He's like, he's an exciting wrestler when it comes to movesets. Like he can just kind of hit cool things. But I always felt, and I still do, like there was just kind of always something missing for me with Edge.
We also need to caveat, for those who do not know, Javier is the world's biggest John Cena fan and genuinely hated Edge.
Yeah, I fucking hated this man. Like he came back, I was like, good for him, but fuck that guy.
Like that will, I feel like that will color a little bit of your analysis.
It does, and I can't lie. I have to be completely honest and transparent about it. I had to do it during the Triple H episode. I have to do it here.
Yeah.
I hated this man when I was a child. I did, and that obviously colors a lot of it. But like, I don't know. It's Edge is a good wrestler. He's a damn good wrestler who puts on very, very good matches. Do I think Edge is an all-time great wrestler? No. I don't. And like, I think that if you take the total package for what he is, then yeah, I think he is one of the best wrestlers of the modern
Took
era.
the words out of my mouth.
I think as a wrestler, he's just good. He's just like a really good wrestler.
I think what he has is that package, right? He's got the look, he's got the skills, and by the skills I mean like the selling is good to great, depending on the time. The in-ring psychology is good to great, depending on the match. The moveset is good. Like the moveset is varied enough. It's popular. The charisma is there. And people talk about it and it factor, but there's a reason that we like universally we all just knew. We couldn't explain why, but Edge over Christian was like the default position, and it was charisma. It absolutely was. And Christian has become more charismatic. The TNA run truly helped Christian.
I loved Christian Cage.
Truly helped Christian. But Edge, you could tell even now, like in 2001, you're like, there's something about that boy. He's got it. Like you can tell why Paul Heyman would run him from the SmackDown 6, why eventually he would become like Mr. Money in the Bank, all those pieces, which we will all cover next week as we continue to dive into the career of Edge. Hey, you should go and hit subscribe on YouTube. If you're already watching and you made it this far, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Also, go to YouTube. We've got lots of extra content. We have our Take a Card, Make a Card series. We have our interview with Nick Sullivan. We have a variety of other cool videos. Also, tell us what you want us to do. If you have an idea for a video, for a match you think we should break down, for a wrestler we haven't covered, hit us up on YouTube in the comments or at Crossbody of Work on Instagram, on Twitter. Our DMs are open. Hit us up there.
Javier, be creative. If you want us to cover WLC, we'll do it.
You don't even have to ask. We'll do it. We'll just do it for fun. Yeah. You should follow Javier wherever he tells you right now.
Again, I got to make the fucking sign. I say this every week, but I still have to make it. I am at JMello Sports on the Twitter machine. Lob the boy a follow like this.
Follow me there as well. @Seven-Gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. FullPressWrestling.com for all of the match links, not just for this week, but every week we do this podcast. You'll find all of our back episodes there. The recommendation, of course, is TLC. But also, I would say, a very fun time is that No Mercy ladder match. Go watch it and see the origins of something really fun that we all loved for a number of years.
Yes.
FullPressShop.com. Cop the merch, support the boys. We need some extra spending cash on our way to WrestleMania, baby. So go buy the shirts. It helps us out tremendously. Also, hey, if you're going to WrestleMania 40 and you're a listener to the podcast, tell us. We would love to meet people who listen to the podcast. We would absolutely love to meet up with you, hang out, talk ECW.
We're not going to plan a meetup. Like we're not going to
we're not those people.
We're not going to a bar, like renting out a bar to host a meetup. But
we'll see you if you're going to be at a place. We'll see it. And we're trying to figure out what indie shows as things get announced. Like I know GCW just announced they're going to be there, obviously. But as things get announced for WrestleMania weekend, we're trying to suss out where we should go. So we're excited to go where the people are.
We'll be at Geno's. I can tell you that.
We're also going to be at Chick-fil-A, apparently. We also have episode 200 coming up before WrestleMania. So let us know what you think we should do for that. Next week, it's no surprise. It's Edge Part 2, Mr. Money in the Bank, Rated R Superstar. All that good stuff is going to be in there. Probably some shit about Matt Hardy. That'll be in there. We'll talk about that. It's going to be a lot. It's a lot to cover next week.
Yeah, there's a shit ton. It's really exciting stuff.
It's good stuff. It's long matches, but it's real good stuff. Javier, it's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier, we're going to talk about booking hotels because Evan and I just spent an hour doing so before this recording.
We just did, yes.
I think that when you guys, when you're in the process of doing so, whether it's here, it's internationally, wherever the hell, you need to there's a lot of different options you can go around. Obviously Airbnbs and like sort of like those rental, basically renting out someone else's residence have become very popular within recent years. Those are always an option. Things like that. I think Verbo is another one that's pretty decent.
Verbo's like the one where it's guaranteed you get the whole house. Like
Yeah,
because some of the other ones are like a room in a house.
Yeah, stuff like that. Obviously you've got your traditional hotels, Marriott's, things like that.
Yeah.
When you're in the beginning stages, you need to know what you're like. What is it that you want? Hotels are always going to be probably more expensive. But you also have to think about the fact that convenience is in there. Like, you're in a hotel, you're good, you have all the amenities that you could need, all this other stuff. But again, that is more expensive. You don't really get food. You don't really have a place to make food either. That's another thing you got to think about.
You got a microwave normally. That's about it.
That's about it. Airbnbs, you typically get all the stuff to make your own food there, but you also have to think about the fact that there's like a cleaning fee. It's slightly more expensive. You don't know the area that you're going to be in. That could be a little weird. You don't know if there's parking. Yes, I don't 100% know if it's legit or not because it's an Airbnb, and you don't even know if the person that's renting it out is going to be there or not. But things like that are very big factors. Money, stuff like that. Know that there are many things out there, many services out there that can help you out in this process. Evan has shown me Expedia as a place to do all this stuff. I think more than anything, the thing that's really important for people to do, especially in advance, is to try to book like many moons in advance. Like, as soon as you have your flight, I always say, as soon as you have your flight, same day you should probably get your hotel or your living accommodation. So whatever you want to do it as soon as humanly possible, because as we get closer to date, one, you don't know what the availability is going to look like. Let's say you had this one hotel in mind. As you get closer to that date, maybe more people have booked, especially with WrestleMania. It's an event where a whole lot of people are going to be there and around there. You got to book that thing in advance because it will get more expensive as the day comes. And you know what? Honestly, more than anything, good luck. The fucking internet has a lot of resources, a lot of places to stay. It's no longer what it was fucking 30 years ago, where you basically just kind of had to say a prayer, get a phone book, and figure it the fuck out. So yeah, just
good luck.
Good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor, and hope you guys get the best deals.
Javier is about to go be Mr. International this week, so when this podcast is live, he will be across the pond.
Just touched down in London town.
Javier will be in London, so that's very exciting for him. He's going to come back a brawling brute, just like his favorite wrestler, Butch.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to have any meetups.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to end this before Javier does any more British accent. We'll be back next week to talk Edge Part 2. We'll talk to you then.
You think you know.